Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm so excited to share with you two Italian musical terms tonight, portato and tenuto. And I would like to share with you how they sound different in a piece, as well as how to produce that particular sound. So we need to think about our physical gestures and our touch releases in order to create the sound that the portato musical symbols create, as well as what the tenuto musical symbols sound like. So here we go. This piece is by Hedwige Chrétien, who was a French female composer who lived during the Romantic era. And I'm going to play the B section for you. And every time I see a note that has either a portato symbol or a tenuto symbol on it, I'm just going to play it staccato. And then I'll explain the other two terms. So nice staccato, crisp and short. And again. And again. And again. Okay, so now these musical symbols look like this. There's a staccato note, there are a few staccato notes, and then there's a slur over them. That is the musical symbol for portato. Portato means sticky. It means to detach the notes. So in order to get that sound like this, okay, I'm going to play that again. Okay, again. So you notice with portato, I drop to the bottom of the keys. Like I actually really feel like I'm going down to the bottom of the keys. And then just like I'm at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, I lift my weight out of the bottom of the Grand Canyon to come back up to resting position where the wrist is in line with the hand and the forearm. And the whole time I'm thinking about how sticky that sounds and how detached it is. So then we hear it again. Now, embedded in some of these phrases are tenutos, and tenuto means to keep or to hold in Italian. So you can imagine that somebody is giving you a nice big hug. So you have to give those notes their full value. So here is a tenuto. So it's a gentle little hug, just a little bit of a tiny little nudge, a smile that opens up. And since there is a portato slur over the entire phrase, we probably should connect it to the very next key. So how did I produce that tenuto? I dropped deeply into the key, and then I roll forward and out of the key. So it is a basic drip and drop roll motion like that. And just remember to roll forward and off the keys. In the portato touch release, the motion is down, and then when you pull up, you're going to pull straight up and not forward or back. Okay, so now I think I'm going to play the entire movement, this lovely little scherzo. And I will tell you when I'm in each different section. So this is the A section. This entire scherzo is in A, B, C, A prime form. So that was the A section, very happy, cheerful, scherzo, a little joke. And you notice there weren't any tenutos or portato in that section. Now the B section is where they have, the composer has written these particular musical symbols. And again. With a ritardando, and then there's a C section which is different. Now we have a whole series of tenuto markings here in the right hand. 4 portatos. Boom, 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 boom. And another tenuto, and then portato. And now we're in an A prime section, which means it's very similar to the first A section, but a little bit different. That is a 4-movement sonatina, and it is in Sonatinas book 5. Enjoy! Students love to play the Sonatina in C major by Hedwige Kuhlau, Opus 55, number 3. And since I've taught this piece many times, I'm going to play it and talk to you about some just some technique tips as well as practice strategy tips for your students. So in the beginning of this work, you'll notice that there are quite a few tenutos. Actually, there are tenuto markings throughout the entire piece. And the student would feel most comfortable if there was just like a little mini drop in their wrist when they go to those notes that need to have full value. Lots of tenutos. You either have the students feel more comfortable when they are standing up on their fingers or when they're dropping to the bottom of the keys. But again, it's not a big drop. It's not like a big portato touch release or physical gesture. It's really just about a mini drop in the wrist, just in order for them to feel comfortable and the sound to be nice and warm and never attacked. So here, the sonatina, that was the very first theme. Here's our second theme in the exposition. Okay, so how do we get our students to play their scales so cleanly? First of all, why don't we have our students work on it slowly? And we don't ever want our students to twist their wrist and move it in complicated ways, in round ways so that juts out the elbow. They can stop on every crossover like this and have the thumb quickly move from its spot on the key that it just played, and then it slides to the next key, waiting to play. And I probably told you this before, but the great pianist Radu Lupu said, "My goodness, I've been playing for the last 10 years without my thumb stuck underneath my palm, and I play so much better." So that's one of the really wonderful traits about succeeding at the piano, where students learn their technique in a correct, healthy, body-friendly way. All right, so now let's go on. So I wasn't so happy with reaching this high E. So I could use a practice strategy called play prepare, where I just prepare the next key, and I'll notice that my arm actually has to shift more in order to be on top of the key, instead of just trying to go for that E without moving as far. So again, I'm definitely preparing that E, and my entire wrist and hand and my arm are directly above that E. I had to do it for both of those tenuto markings. energy in their fingers, playing from the top metacarpal joints, and have them think that they're scooping like, I don't know, mud from the rainy day outside. And they'll have a very nice balance of forte going into pianissimo at the end of that phrase. Now the development starts. So for all those scale passages in the development section, it is always scooping. And that really helps the student to propel themselves to go cleanly from the first note to the last note in each little phrase. And then I love what Kuhlau does with this accented note in the right hand, and then diminuendo, and then two wedge notes, which are even shorter than staccatos, and then tenutos. And here we have the recapitulation. I think I need to do that again. So if I were with a student, I would say, okay, let's do that 4 more times. That when I move with my torso, where it is the center of all activity, it's much easier to feel like I'm over the key that needs to be played. Isn't it, for our students? And sometimes they can crumble in the middle or towards the end where they're giving up focus. So some really good ways to practice these kind of scales. We could certainly practice by impulse practicing. So maybe 2 or 3 notes at a time. And then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm starting on every major beat in the measure, and I just play 3 notes in a row, feeling like I am fluidly moving with my playing apparatus. And then I might add 2 more notes. 1, 2, for 5 note impulse. And then I would still cut that up so that they're not making an entirely long passage of that kind of practicing. So maybe just 1 unit, 1 measure plus 1 downbeat, practicing with those 5 note impulses and definitely repeating them more than I did. Another way you could have them play this is by regrouping, just starting in the middle of the measure. And then have them stop, probably on a major beat as well. And they can again feel the fluidity in their arm and making sure that they're playing with a flexible wrist. So those are some really good ideas about scale passage work. Hand comes back with another scale. So a good idea would be to just have the student think about how steady they are so that they get to the second beat in a very clear way. They could accent that second beat ever so slightly. And then take a few beats right before it. Another great example of regrouping. So regrouping is taking any kind of a melody, phrase, and starting it in a place that you wouldn't usually start it. Reprograms your mind to think of it in a different way, right? Some of our students say, oh, I can't start it there. I got to start at the beginning of the phrase. No, no, no. We're going to start it at all different places in your phrase. So okay, so practicing triads in their inversions. A nice scoop that goes to the top note. And you could also have your students stop on that highest note and have themselves watch their wrist and their forearms to make sure that they are really moving. So I hope that helps you with playing and teaching sonatinas as well as enjoying this wonderful sonatina by Kuhlau.